Hey guys, we'll get started in just a few minutes. AR, why don't you say a few words so we can tell if they can hear you or not?
I have white reflection stuck in my head now because of the conversation we were having off air.
Anytime I think of the
Do,
Gundam
do, do,
songs, for some
do,
reason,
do,
I honestly remember hearing Jonathan Frakes saying Red Alert during the song.
do.
It has to have been like some random anime music video inserted it or
Oh yeah,
something, but
sure,
like every
sure.
time I think of it's the just communication, not right reflection. Anytime I think
Yeah,
of that
okay,
song,
that's fair.
I
Those are the
literally
two.
Yeah, anytime I think of just communication, in my head, I literally hear Jonathan Frakes just going red alert, red
Red
alert,
alert, red alert.
and that's not from something related to Star Trek. That has to have he says it in Star Trek,
It's
but
an
that
AMV, yeah.
yeah, it
It's got to
has
be
to
an
have been an
AMV.
AMV or a joke clip or something, and it just inserted in my head so well that it
Now
stuck
I'm
there.
gonna have to dig up. There's a really good. I forgot if it was White Reflection or Just Communication, but there's a really good AMV to one of those songs that existed like 20 years ago that was on my
Ow!
regular
Your
rotation.
mic just like flipped out for a moment here.
Oh, weird.
Dev, say a few words.
I am very tired and very sore.
Normal for Dev. Let's
More
see.
so than usual because I did like 5 hours of yard work and then it's like, hey, the sun is still up. I can go for a bike ride, which I haven't done in 2 years. And then I did that for like 2 hours and
Oh, that's a terrible idea to do
Oh,
that much at a
that's
time.
too
That's
much.
yeah.
Too much.
yeah,
Okay.
I kind of figured that out at like 4 in the morning when I decided to like stretch my leg out and went, oh no, oh
And
no.
See, here's the thing.
and it didn't stretch back.
That's bad. The worst thing is when you wake up with a Charlie horse.
Oh yeah,
It,
that
you
used to be regular.
yeah, you're just laying in bed, and then all of a sudden you can feel your leg compressing, and you just want to scream or
Yep.
hit it against the wall.
Yep.
Those are the
Oh
only
Yep.
yeah.
those are the only two reactions to a Charlie horse. Is either you want to scream or you just are like, is my leg close enough to the wall that I can bash it into it?
Yeah.
Can I
That used to
detach
be
my
me
leg?
Yes.
half of the mornings for a period. Like that would be
Yeah.
me.
Like
I
like logically I know what to do when there's a Charlie horse. You just plant your feet on the ground solid,
yeah. Yeah.
but it takes a minute to catch up.
Yeah.
I dig my fingers into the muscle and force it loose, but at the same time, it's just like, fucking ow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what fixed that, if it was walking more or more fluid intake or whatever, but yeah, that was a
More
painful period of
potassium and
life.
more fluids.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys ready to
I
So,
think
start?
that's what I
sure.
Welcome to the podcast. We're here to entertain, inform a bit while talking about Digimon. I'm Mark, a run with the will, and produce Digimon on Blu-ray.
I'm AR Pulver, and I'm really happy Digimon was trending today to celebrate me finishing Rearise.
I'm DevQ and I'm very, very sleepy right now.
It's been a fucking week. Like they never just like will let one interesting thing happen. We always get the weird deluge of stuff.
It's
We just
been
get dogpiled by
it hasn't I don't want to say it's a week, it's been a 3 days.
Yes.
it.
So first off, the hiatus is over. Ghost Game episode 22 airs. Oh, it like what, 5 weeks late, I believe. Not like super long. About 5 weeks, I think.
It's
4 or
something like
5.
that.
Yeah.
I don't
There's
know.
the odd math because we had a week where it was definitely off regardless.
Yes, because there was
Oh
like
yeah.
sporting
Yeah.
event, and then, oh
Yes.
well.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
then so episode 22 Nightmare finally aired, and so this is weird. If there was no hiatus, this episode would 100% not matter or be remembered at all.
I
Even
still
though it
don't think
has some interesting
I
stuff in it.
I still don't think this episode will be remembered or be interesting at all,
Oh,
but
no.
it was a really coming off of a hiatus, it's like the perfect episode to come back to.
No, that's what I mean. Like, this episode benefited from the hiatus, especially since it almost makes you forget that we ended on something that really needed to be dealt with right after.
I forgot about, like, I remember 21 I thought was less consequential than it appeared to be, but it still needs to be
Yes.
dwelled on.
No, exactly. And that was to the benefit of this episode that if the hiatus was not there, we would all be far more upset about that than we actually are. It's been long enough in our heads that we're kind of like, what do you expect? It's Ghost Game.
Especially because it's last time was an episode that was so focused on the mindsets of both Hiro and Gamamon, and then this week neither of them show up.
I mean, it was actually a really good way to write them out of the episode.
Yeah, except it's only a good way to write them out of the episode if you have dealt with the issue first, or at least suggest something's wrong on their side, rather than it just being Gamamon tried to eat a phone, which oddly, a few episodes ago, weren't they talking about him maturing a bit?
Yes, and then he went right back to like
Yes.
chewing on things like a
He
dog.
relapsed. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's still.
And
But I don't mind that so much because I think if it was an episode that did feature Hero more, we'd be more inclined to be
probably.
asking those questions. Whereas, if they're really just stuck idling, it's not something that's going to come up in our heads as often as it would be otherwise if they were
They're
just a part of this episode.
they're getting a lot of energy out of the plot is just Jellymon trying to do something to make money and then something goes wrong.
It's come more in the forefront this time. Like, it's not the first time,
Yes.
obviously,
But
but
this
this
time
is
it's very
definitely the first
important.
time they're
Yeah.
really,
And
really
I
leaning
will
into
say
it.
this, one thing that Ghost Game I think has done really badly is it takes its horror roots, but it doesn't always take them in a way that's clear or obvious to the point that we've seen the directors be confused about what they're actually riffing on. Like Kakudo said in his episode, he didn't know it was a riff on whatever I don't remember what the title was. He thought it was a completely different thing.
Oh, yeah.
This, you could beat by beat, you know what's going on, and they're using like well-known things from dream plots. So I at least like that in that it's very coherent compared to some of the pseudo not quite horror plots they've used.
I also like that both Kyoshiro and Jellymon are just smart enough to get into even more fucking hijinks, but too stupid to deal with them.
Yeah.
They're
No,
like,
that was, and that's the nice thing about Hero being gone, is that this forces Kiyoshiro and Rudy to do stuff, and they're not quite capable
And Ruli,
of doing it effectively.
did she like devolve into someone utterly like worthless and just annoyed at stuff? It was kind of weird. They still have not defined her character very well.
I do appreciate though the more that she's more annoyed in this one. Like when you
Oh,
get
I
when
do
Hero's
too,
out
but
of the when
yeah.
Hero's out of the picture, like she had a lot more personality in this episode than she usually gets.
To be
And
fair,
that's a
she
positive
she
step.
normally just pops in for a minute somewhere and that's it.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I kind of
yeah,
got
no,
Mimi
this
vibes
time
off her.
this was the better step. This was a better look for Rudy.
I will say I really liked them showing us what happened when Angoramon evolved in the dream world. Showing us that, oh, they've realized something's wrong because he's just randomly Simbare for no apparent reason.
Yeah. Oh crap. He's evolving and Rudy has injuries.
I love it anytime when it's a shrinking plot or a dream plot, we gotta go in after him. We don't have a plan, but clearly we need to go. And they go, and then stuff goes wrong.
End up exactly in exactly the same danger.
Yes.
Because these two are not as smart as they think they are.
Yes. And oddly, I don't get Jellymon almost felt a bit too blah about the situation for me, considering she's in the midst of being chased, and she sort of didn't care. She cared once she became Tesla.
Yeah.
And the best part was randomly showing pillow mods like floating around and like trying to avoid dealing with it.
That was a good setup to
yes, it was.
to the ending.
Yeah.
I love the expressions on Simbari and Goramon where he's just like holding up the pillow mon. Just staring
Yeah.
at the screen.
And then the phone gets fixed, and we get the most obvious thing that we all saw coming. Bakuman pops out, tells them what's going on, and texts him to go help. And then we don't see him till the end. Kiyoshiro bringing up lucid dreaming, which, again, they hit every bullet point you want them to hit in this type of episode. This is one of those times when they do a plot, you don't need to do anything that wild. You just need to hit the beats, and they hit the exact beats I was hoping they would hit.
Yeah, they hit the beats in a very entertaining way. Like, there's
Yes.
nothing new about this concept, but they did everything,
Yeah.
all the trite stuff, just the way you want them to.
Then we got 10 seconds of really nice Simbare animation. And then they just moved on from it to giant Tesla Jellymon, which was more amusing. Personally.
Yeah, they know who people are cheering for here.
And
We
then
want giant Tesla.
And then the fight is over, and Bakuman shows up to go, well, I'm late, but I was helping other people, so get bent. And then Skull Greymon with the
Bakuman's
missile.
busy.
Pillowmon wakes up. I like Pillowmon's explanation of everything. He overate, and he had a nightmare because a Skull Greymon chased him once.
I like that the whole standard fare, the usual, oh, we can do whatever we want in a dream, that was, it was effective, but it wasn't the final, like, that wasn't the solution. Like, they still needed an extra step after that, and also that extra step took, like, 10 seconds and was funny.
Yeah. And then Bakuman heals people. Jellymon still commenting about the fucking business was funny. Like, her still trying to get Ruli to advertise for her. Kiyoshi.
So we have an endorsement or not?
Who's fucking rich?
No, it was the getting Ruli to tweet it out on her.
No. What Dev's saying is, why is she worried about running businesses when theoretically he's rich? Although I don't think it's ever been clarified just how much money he has.
Also, I don't know if Tesla Jellymon's in it for the money or just the
vague power of running a business.
Just wants to be a successful entrepreneur.
Yeah, I think she just wants to be the boss.
Like, what's money to a Digimon? She just wants to be in charge.
And Kiyoshiro wonders if him being cool means something. I hope not. I feel like if there's a reveal later, it kind of ruins the character.
It also ruins the fact that this episode's meaningless. Like, I kind of like this episode being in kind of its own little bubble.
Ruli sighs at this. The Angoramon rambling, at this point, it has to be parody, right? Like,
yeah, it's certain. I think they're becoming a little self-aware on this.
Oh, I think they were self-aware a while ago, because at one point he went off on some long tangent in another episode, and at the end Ruli just goes, "I don't know what you just said." I don't remember which one it was, but there's one where after he goes off his thing, she just shrugs and no idea.
Yeah. Was it the Koemon episode with the
maybe?
Yeah,
it may have been. But yeah, we kind of got eased back into probably the most standard episode possible.
It's the most standard episode, but without Hiro, it worked.
And also,
if Hiro was part of all this, I don't think I'd be nearly as invested into it, and I don't think that Kiyoshiro and Ruri would be nearly as good.
And also an episode that very clearly was meant to air a month ago with the cherry blossom stuff and all these social media images they were posting regarding that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, the timing of this episode was definitely for earlier.
Yeah. And we have the new end theme, which
I liked it.
It was alright.
It's the best one so far.
Yeah, it's the best one of the three, which isn't saying much.
But also, like, the animation is. We all expected the one to show up, but really, it doesn't appear they're actually going to get to perfect anytime soon.
I wonder if that
we lost that bet.
I wonder if that last one might have been a swap. That random restaurant image that I wonder.
It's or it's possible this is
on the particular images longer than they should.
It's also possible this is a revision A, and in a few episodes it will be swapped if they have Kana Weissman show up.
Yeah.
Yeah, the song's definitely the best of the three, which is weird because when I was listening to it, I'm like, hey, I kind of like this. And now that I'm not listening to it in my head, I
I
literally
forgot it
can't.
Do
immediately.
not remember any
I
remember.
can't remember
Yeah, this
any
is
of it.
one. This is one that might grow on me.
Ma-
Which is more than I can say about the other two. The other two, I'm like, I
it's
forget
better.
them immediately. This one, after a few listens, it might get into my head enough that I might enjoy it. But it's gonna take a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm actually looking forward to the full version. The other ones I just did not
Yeah,
give a single thought.
I'm curious to hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And couple guests, Pillowmon was Ayaka Saito, who's was Burgermon in Adventure 2020. And God bless him, we all like when he shows up. Hisao Ikawa is Skull Greymon. For the only 3 words he says, they brought back Ogremon and Mugidramon for that.
He
Like,
deserves it.
think of everything he think of
I didn't even catch if he
Rebellion.
said those. I didn't even catch if he said those differently. If they IMG'd
I
that or
think he said them at least 2 different ways. But here's the thing. But
okay,
here's the
get
thing.
One
your
was
He
a
money's
little bit
worth.
slower.
Yeah, here's the one thing. He's extremely talented. Like cartoonishly, we just don't get a lot of him. It may have just been him doing it each time and not the Sideshow Bob gag. Because you do know the Sideshow Bob gag, right?
Which one?
Kelsey
There's a
Grammer
couple.
only did the rake noise once. The episode was running
Oh
short,
yeah.
so
Oh,
they extended it
yeah.
by just repeating the
Well, I know
noise over and over.
I know they extended the rake scene.
Yeah.
I didn't think
And
about the audio implication of that.
yes, it's just what he did it once. And when they extended the episode, they just copy pasted it. It's the same thing
So
they
it's a question of whether he's in this episode, if he's Kelsey Grammer or Vin Diesel,
Yes.
and he's Vin Diesel, and we're happy about that.
Yeah. And then next week, well, later this week, we get Moaning Bug. And people are very interested in what characters we see based on some of the visuals.
I'm not gonna play hide and seek with that. You
I
can have
kind
your
of
fun.
already did.
Oh, everyone already has for a bunch of them. But we'll see who pops up and how. The one thing I will say, and it goes back to Try, with previews, they've been very manipulative in what they show us out of context sometimes.
Sure. Yeah.
So even seeing what we know we saw, that may be horribly out of context.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, that may be the Digimon that gets waxed in the prologue.
Yes. So we will see. And then, because it's time for more Ghost Game, the pre-orders went open for the plushes with some Vital Bracelet bonus items if you ordered directly from the manufacturer, but now the actual pre-orders are open for the 3 plushies. The prices are good. I pre-ordered these.
I really want to actually see the product first.
I would too, but I decided that realistically I was going to order them anyways. So I just ordered them because I decided I was going to get them.
Hold out for a while.
I don't disagree.
Yeah, this is. I hope I can see. I hope these end up at conventions. I have. Yeah. I'll put it in the heads of a couple of my vendor friends to maybe import these.
Yeah, well,
so I can buy them later.
It helps that they aren't the Crane Game ones.
Yeah.
These you can just order a case and be done with it. And then, news to wake up to, Digimon Survive has a release date in Japan. It's July 28th. Being that is a Thursday, that is realistically not our release date.
No.
July 29th wouldn't shock me, to be fair. They've done Friday before, Bandai. But we don't know. It does tell us that, hey, they have a date unless, and they've done this before, because we're actually a few days before the magazine's published. Before, they've actually published corrections the day before the official publication date. Because we've had that before, like the 2 God Dims.
But it would be weird for them to remove a date. Changing a date, perhaps.
But... No. I mean, when they, the V-Jump, it was last June, I think. It had information about 2 Dims based around gods and angels. Like, actual information, images of Digimon that would be in it. And then Digimon Net the day before published a thing saying, these aren't being made. Ignore it. Now, realistically, those could always still pop up. I would expect them as some sort of premium thing, but until the magazine is actually out, it would not be a bad idea to go, I would like to wait to see what else this says.
Yeah, I mean, they
Yeah.
haven't hit any of
Yeah.
their release dates yet, so.
To be fair, I don't think they actually gave a
They
date.
never actually
They gave
announced a
now
release
to be
date. They
to be
have-
clear, it is much harder to miss an entire year than it is a single day. But yeah, so July 28th for Japan. Gilmon is a pre-order bonus Digimon. We do not know how that works, despite people making up answers for it for some reason.
Yeah, they're going assuming a little bit based off of the way Survive or Cyber Sleuth worked, and
Yeah.
that it may or may not work the same way here.
Yeah.
I would lean towards not, considering this is a slightly different genre of game.
Yeah. So we will wait to see. Of course,
I wonder if it's for like digital only or early purchase.
I would assume that if you at least ignoring
Well, pre-orders
igno-
can go.
yeah.
It can
ignoring
go either way, because I pre-ordered Cyber Sleuth physical and still got my DLC.
yeah, most physical releases have pre-order DLC. They just have a slip in the thing.
Yeah.
Interestingly, somehow a bunch of people came out with the idea that this was from Famitsu, and it could be, but it probably isn't, because if you look at Ryokutya's site, all the articles around it are very clearly from VJump.
Yeah, the one place I saw that ran with the news was citing VJump, although they were actually just citing this guy.
Yeah. Oh no, yeah, it's from him. No one has a copy of it yet.
No, it's yeah.
Yeah.
Like this guy, you said this guy seems pretty reliable.
He's been reasonably reliable for years. Anytime anything from him is wrong, it is a misinterpretation of something that is actually there. Like for example, the size symbol.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. But here's the thing. That's not him actually being wrong. That's him misunderstanding what he was looking at.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
His information is reliable. It's just there could be a twist where he's not understanding something.
And that symbol does look like a Psy if you squint.
Yes, and that's part of why it made sense, because the name of that symbol makes perfect sense for what it means, for what the show is going to be. So yeah. So no doubt we will get more information soon-ish.
Let's be real here, Psy makes as much sense as colon anyway, so.
Yeah. So we will see what pops up for Survive, and if there's anything more of substance in VJump, it will be interesting to see.
Well, and we'll probably have more on this next week.
Yes.
I hope.
We will see, because the truth is we don't know. It might be a little thing in the corner saying the game's going to come out July 28th, we'll have more next month, for all we know.
That would be so underwhelming.
They've done that before.
I'm not saying it's not inconsistent.
Yes.
I'm saying it's underwhelming.
They've done that with VJump before.
I totally believe
in
they
fact,
would do
in fact,
it.
I specifically remember it was, I think it was like the Digimon Z2. Or the Pendulum Z2. I believe, like we all saw on his site, it was, okay, they announced the Z2 for whatever month it was going to be, and people are like, oh, I can't wait to see the previews, and it was literally just like a little tiny thing in the corner that was almost possible to miss. And then
one thing I'd add to the conversation is that if we do get the physical copy and there is a hard date on it, it would be really surprising for them to delay it further.
Here's the thing. I would assume at this point, if they're saying a date, they're done.
They're pretty much done with the game, yeah.
Or at the very least, done enough that they're comfortable releasing it and just getting a patch day 0 or day 1. I expect at this point they've set manufacturing and stuff.
Yeah, it's also the fact that they're comfortable setting a date now when they weren't comfortable setting a date 2 months ago.
Oh no, remember, a month ago, they weren't even comfortable. I don't think they actually said 2022 at the time.
Right, no,
they did not.
Yeah. They were saying nothing.
Yeah.
They said nothing 2 months ago, and now that's like, okay,
now,
good.
Here's the
thing. It seems to me they're being extra cautious.
Now, here's the thing. The only way this could end up being funny is if we get images of the magazine, and then after the July 28th, it says 2023. Moving on from Survive, we
Which
certainly
would be a Friday, I think.
moving on from Survive, we get to see another new Digimon from New Century. We don't have a name. We do know it's based on the mythological fish named Kun, though.
Coon.
Yes.
I have trouble. I know fish is named Coon and all that. I still look at it and think fish Coon like
Yeah.
it's an honorific.
And it turns into or Kun, that is not the Digimon, turns into Pang, a giant mythological bird, which at the very least suggests what the evolution may be. Which has a lot of people going, because we've seen a bird Digimon from New Century, and a lot of people have wondered if the second one, which was Silhouette, might also be a bird.
Mm.
Like I don't remember if it was me or someone else when they saw the Silhouette went penguin. I honestly don't remember. Very nice artwork. The artwork's so different than what we expect. It seemed to throw a lot of people off.
It doesn't feel like a Digimon.
Well, here's the thing. It's not like it's the same framing artwork we saw for the Magpie Digimon. This may be like a product, like a, because they're getting the card game right now. This could be like an early thing so they could make a mat out of it, and then we'll get some more standard artwork later.
Yeah, and it's not even like if you were to crop that and put that on a card, it would be total, like no one would bat an eye at that.
It's the formatting that makes us go, that's a bit weird.
Right.
So we'll see what pops up there. The only odd thing is normally we do get the Chinese name so we can come up with like a rough temporary English name. This time we just know it's based on Kun. That's it. So we'll see.
Fish.
Yeah.
Fish Kunmon it is.
And then Mon Memo went over the dim cards from Spirit Flame. There isn't much to say here because I don't think there's anything actually new here.
Yeah, we kind of already went over these.
Minus that a number of people have pointed out now that, Spirit Flame is the Kaiser Greymon Digimon, and Spirit Light is the Magna Garurumon spirits.
Oh.
Yeah. I noticed that right away.
I don't think you commented on it, though. Yeah.
I didn't comment on it because I thought that was...
I thought it was also, but same thing. Like, apparently, no, it was not as obvious as we thought it was.
Okay. Well, I also had to write a fanfic where I had to keep track of whose was whose for continuity purposes. So, so I had to know whose was assigned which way.
Yeah.
So maybe I just am more informed on that
and
than
then
the average
don't
person.
don't we all love when new I don't understand the bitching about these shirts, to be honest.
They're fine.
They're definitely not for me, but I actually like the designs. Make sense to me. You get a line art Agumon and the back's line art Greymon, and like the two-tone shirt I actually like. I wouldn't buy it, but I actually like the design. I think it works for what they're trying to do.
It's not for me, but I get it.
Yeah.
I was kind of hoping for a line art Gabumon, but...
See, here's the thing. If these sell, that feels like that would be the next one. You do line art Gabumon, and then you do Agumon and Taichi two-tone.
Yeah. I mean, you don't want to do it in this set because if you're an Agumon kid, you go for the Agumon and Greymon shirt, and if you're a Gabumon kid, you go with the Gabumon and matte shirt.
Yeah. Although I will say this, their shirt photography is not very good. The large image of the Matt and Gabumon shirt, I'm pasting this in so you guys can see, and I'll paste that in for the chat. You gotta make the logo look good. You can't have the logo look like shit in your press photography.
Digimon.
Yeah. You gotta show off the brand. That fold is very that should not be there. That's actually like the one thing I will say they fucked up on. Badly.
Yeah, and honestly, considering I unfortunately had to work at a t-shirt printing company for a while, they kind of made that print a little too big when it's like wrapping under the armpits.
Yeah.
So what happens if you have to tuck your shirt in?
Then you have to say it like Digimon monsters.
Just cuts out the adventure part.
And then it's time for the card deluge. We got all the starter deck 12 and 13 clean images, various promo cards that are recently out. I like the art this time. I'm still trying to decide how it compares to prior starter decks because I'm not sure it's as nice.
Nothing's blowing me away here. It's
Like the art
fine.
is good, but
The problem
Yeah.
is the bar is so high. Like the bar is so high for the card game, and then the crossword stuff starts. And like, okay, that's very good. Like,
Yeah.
I
so
am delighted by almost
so
all the
Yeah.
for
crosswords
booster
I've
so
read
for
so
booster
far.
set 10, we started off with uh, card battle showing off Taiki, Shoutmon, and Shoutmon at Cross 4, and also explaining how Digicross works, which I like the way that's integrated into the game. You get
I'll have to read on that.
yes,
I didn't
okay.
catch
So
that
the
part.
way Digicross works. So let's say Shoutmon Cross 4 as your example. The summon cost is 9. It has a
Oh,
digi
okay.
it has a dig it
Okay.
has a Digicross effect of -2, and that effect can apply to Shoutmon, Darulomon, Starmons, and Ballistamon. So you get -2 summon for each one of them that you have.
Yeah,
Ooh, okay.
it's an
That's
appropriate expansion of the Digivolution effect that's already the
yes,
mechanic that's already in the game. It
yeah,
just sort of doubles it up because you're
yeah.
digicrossing. No,
Um,
that worked. That
then we also
makes
we also got
sense.
the art for Darulomon and Ballistamon. The Pikmons and Starmons art's great. The Pikmon
Oh yeah.
one's just amazing with the Chibikmon and
Pikmon.
the one like trying to catch up.
Yep. Yep.
Gaussmon and Male Bergermon, great.
I like Gau. Gaussmon is an underrated favorite of mine. It doesn't get nearly enough exposure. Those little
It
guys
looks
in
nice on
Curious
the
Armor.
card though.
Just nice
Uh,
little
They
padding
always
for
make me think of the Shriekers from the Tremors series.
It's just nice to get this is the little padding out of the Blue
yeah.
Flare army. Those
Uh,
guys.
Troopmon and Madleomon. You know what's weird? The Madleomon art's really nice. It almost doesn't quite look enough like him. Like it's almost a bit too fancy.
Almost just because in the show,
He was a very
I often
cartoony guy.
it was so big and so dark that it was hard to associate it with as being a Leomon. Where in this
Yeah,
picture, like you can see
yeah.
it.
Um, then we get Ghost Game, which we knew the Ghost Game sub theme would continue. We get Bosamon. That the Pionmon looking upset is great. And Gormon, I like his mouth bothers me. It's like too wide.
Yes, exactly.
It's very gorillas
Like
right
I
there.
yes. Then Simbare, Angormon, and Ruli, which we could expect both of those.
Yeah.
Although the Ruli art's rather nice, I will say.
Yeah.
Then we get Brayclaw and Pion Dump, which in the animations, we got one of those for Jellymon last time, so it makes sense. Although I will say, the Angormon one looks a bit weird to me, and I don't know why. Something about like
It's the perspective.
yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Then Sanzomon, which yeah, they don't often like shove the origin of the character in your face, even when it's in their profile. But this one they really do.
It looks
It's
pretty badass.
Ha-
Yeah, and that's one that you kind of want to
no,
show off
no, absolutely,
those four.
yeah. So yeah, showing
That whole
Shohokaimon,
journey of
Sangomon, and
the whole
Gokuamon.
journey of the West Quartet, you kind of want to go, hey,
Yeah.
this is a reference.
Yes. Then last night we got Venusmon and Healing Therapy. They knew what they were doing with that card.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, I think Healing Therapy is better because it's so cartoony and look well done. And the bird looks fucking like annoyed. The bird just like has bug eyes and shit.
It's the bird from Toradora, isn't it? That expression.
No, because the bird in Torador was like green and yellow and had the
No,
goofy
the
tongue.
the coloring's different. The expression
See, I think of
is
the
what it looks
tongue
like.
with the Torador bird.
Oh yeah, it needs the tongue. Yeah, you add the tongue, and it's a white
Yeah.
version of the bird from
And
Toradora.
Card Battle did 2 matches on top of the previews. And lot of card stuff, and we basically get a month ongoing of cross wars, and a handful of sub themes. And I don't think many people are
I am
complain
fine
that
with
we're gonna
it.
get. There's gonna be
Yeah.
so many Shoutmons by the end of the set. I don't like. Joking aside, how many do you think there'll be? We already have 3 confirmed Shoutmons.
I say at least a third of the total Shoutmons, which I think is like over 30.
Are we counting option cards?
No,
Ooh.
no, it has to be Shoutmon being in the name, or it being a form so associated with Shoutmon that even if Shoutmon's not in the name, it counts. So, like,
I'll say
maybe.
6. I'll say 6.
Okay, yeah. So,
I double that. I feel like a solid dozen.
yeah.
You're going oops,
So,
I'll shout, Mom.
yeah. So far the ones confirmed are
Absolutely.
Shoutmon Cross 4, and Cross 5's confirmed because that's the package art.
Yeah.
So we'll see what pops up there. Then Digimon Profile 31 went up. It's detailing floral Digimon and those who make flowers bloom. I like when we get like the weird little mini profile things that almost like you wouldn't think to pull it up that way.
Yeah. It gets all the plant ones in there.
Do you
I
think
like to
It's
go see the cherry
it's
blossoms, but it's
thematically
literally
and
blooming.
it's thematically and seasonably appropriate.
Yes? And then later that night, everyone was like, well, we know what the poll is going to be about. And after the flowery profile, it's which human hybrid Digimon from Frontier is your favorite? Everyone was like, 100% it's going to be who's your favorite floral Digimon? Go read the profile. And then it's completely different.
This
Yep.
This poll's better.
Yeah.
Oh, that's hard to pick.
I think I voted for Chakmon because he's the cutest, but I think
I'm kind of split between
Agnimon's gonna win this in a landslide.
See,
But
I think the issue
I'm
is from what we can tell, these have so little votes. I actually could imagine almost anyone winning minus 3 or 4 of them.
I hope so. Like, there's some good arguments. Like, there's an argument for a lot of them.
No, yeah, exactly. That's what I mean, though.
Like,
Like, a lot of these I could imagine winning.
yeah. Like, there's some fun choices in here. I almost voted for Arbormon just to show him some love because he doesn't get enough, but no, I went with
You're
Chakmon.
gonna see if you had done that, you would see Arbonne with 0.1%, and you'd be going, "That's my fucking vote."
That would make me sad. Arbormon at least deserves to beat Grottomon. I don't like Grottomon. Don't ask me
I
why.
have minimal memory of either of them.
annoying prick.
Derek Stephen Prince has little memory of voicing Grottomon, and Grottomon, and he voiced Grottomon.
Oh, like he got paid for this.
Yeah, he got paid for it, and he doesn't even remember that character.
To be fair, he plays a lot of characters in Digimon.
It's true, but
And Grottomon,
yeah. But he remembers a lot of them.
Yes. So we'll see where that pops up in the next month or so. If I had to guess the top one, I could actually see 3 of them. And I could not guess which of the 3. And honestly, I think this one's open enough that most could be the top, but I would say it would be Ognimon, Loemon, or Duskmon.
Oh, Duskmon's in there too.
Yeah, because Duskmon's always very popular, so I see that as like an easy potential jump.
I'm kind of split between Duskmon and Ranamon for my personal vote.
Ranamon, I came close to voting for Ranamon. I guess I'm being the spirit of water. I guess I'm not thirsty enough.
Yep. Okay, and moving on from that,
I try.
We got
a few. Get that in there.
We get a few bits of art. Tenya Yabuno put up a preview of him drawing Chapter 8 of Digimon Dreamers. You can make out a bit of the sketch layer that hasn't been erased yet. That Patamon is fucking amazing. Looking at that,
he's the perfect shape.
Like that weird fucking jelly bean sitting like where it's almost not even flying, it's just sort of there. That is amazing. That art of that Patamon.
That is perfect.
Or like the weird,
Yabano.
or the weird scrunched Mochimon.
But that's classic Yabano Patamon right there.
Yeah.
Just
But
I think he was even rounder in V-Tamer.
But I just like how many of the characters here have so much personality. It's just amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Patamon is just basically gonna break your kneecaps.
or like the Bubmon being like flat a bit.
Yeah. Yeah. He is absolutely Metroiding Ritsu's brain.
It's just great.
He's going straight up Ratatouille.
Yeah. Oh god.
And then from the recording, the CGI wasn't ready, so they showed the stand-in Skull Greymon, which was a
That is my
storyboard of him.
favorite image of Skull Greymon, honestly.
Yes. Best Skull Greymon art ever.
Yeah. That's some good, quick drawing.
I feel like that if their episode was taking place in a dreamscape, like you could have incorporated that in somehow. Like in this dream reality, this is how everything's drawn.
Yeah.
Like they had the Van Gogh art going on in the background.
Yeah, that was nice. I didn't point that out because I kept deciding when I was writing about the episode that I would wait until they hit the end conclusion of that, and they never did the end shot that I expected them to do. So I sort of just forgot.
Full Starry Night or something?
Yeah, because they were doing it so obviously, I expected them to have like the end shot or to do a sudden shot or something.
No, I didn't really think they'd do that. It's just a nice little background thing.
And then we get some episode art. So first up, the Tenya Buno art from the ED. He put up a different formation of it. Still nice art. I like when he draws like the weird logo for Ghost Game. Like the hand-drawn version of the logo. It looks really nice. And then random collection of numbers. I've talked to this person. They said just paste that in as their name. They do video checking on Ghost Game. They posted art of Gamamon trying to help. I don't know what to call this person because, like I said, they've just said just paste the Twitter name as their name. And I don't just want to call them Wax or Waxy because I think those are just like random at the beginning. I'm not sure Gamamon's competent enough to carry that many things, to be honest. And then
he's apparently not competent to handle a phone without shoving it into his mouth.
And then one of the artists posted a GIF of Jellymon, which was fun little GIF. I like the outline logo they posted. That was neat. And then we have questions. So those of you in the chat, go ahead and throw yours up. And one of the ones that was sent in, someone doesn't get where we will talk basically about generic JRPGs positively or okay, but then we talk about Digimon Story and Survive negatively based on us saying they're generic.
So part of this is like, are we what I was concerned about here is like, are you talking about like our previous discussions of like SNES RPGs as being generic okay JRPGs, in which case we got to fight over this?
Yeah.
Or are we talking about like the Blue Reflection conversation we had last week?
Well, see,
Blue Reflection.
We haven't played that. We're going off one screenshot and some basic info. As for the Super Nintendo ones, I know why you're coming out, Rocky Balboa. But remember, we have in the past talked about how many generic Super Nintendo RPGs there actually are, on top of the actual good ones. So here's the thing. We're talking about in the sense of that people keep talking about Digimon games as if they're game of the year, game of the century, amazing things. Like Cyber Sleuth has an interesting story. The graphics work. They're not great.
Exactly. The story, like Cyber Sleuth, you're here for the Digimon and for the story.
Yes.
The gameplay is sufficient.
Yeah. And even the story isn't fully original or interesting. It's a good, story.
I like the story.
I'm not saying I don't. But
I'm good with the story.
And in the case of Survive, we're not judging the game. We're judging the genres. Like, here's the thing. SRPGs often are boring and often have issues because of how they're constructed. Visual novels can work very well, or they can be a boring tread.
Based on how many SRPGs have been coming out and how long that's been going on, and based on the history of Digimon games in the past, it's very unlikely that there will be anything gameplay-wise in Survive that we will find innovative. That doesn't mean the game's going to be bad. It's just
In fact, I'm
not
pretty sure
it's not going to blow our minds.
I'm pretty sure universally our generic answer when we've been asked how do we think the games will be is we've basically gone it's probably gonna be fine. We
Yeah.
don't know. We're not judging the game.
It's going
We're
to be playable, and
I'm-
it's going to
I'm
be something
here,
that
like-
we play because we like the subject matter
Yeah.
vaguely.
Yeah, and I'm excited. I'm legitimately excited for the Survive story. I'm legitimately excited for the characters. The gameplay I will get through.
So here's the thing. I'm interested in the story and characters. I would be more excited for them if it did not feel like what the same people who love Survive claim they don't like, which is the overabundance of adventure. They claim they want things to move on from adventure, but Survive, by and large, is adventure with a very basic coat of paint. That doesn't mean it's going to be good or bad.
I think
We don't know.
I think the objections that people have with being tired of adventure is that they're tired of the adventure canon and a little bit the characters.
I don't know.
The actual format, I think people will still go for.
I don't know.
The general concept of take a bunch of kids and isekai them into a world of danger, I think people will still eat up.
Yeah, we'll see how the game is. Apparently, we're not going to be waiting that much longer. Like, if we get a date anywhere near Japan's, that's only 3 months away. So we'll see.
I'm like, tell me when we have an English date.
That's what I mean.
I have no expectations on
when. A Digimon game in Japanese, but considering
this one you need to be able to read.
It's a little bit text heavy.
Yeah.
Then Sora asked, okay, it's specific to me, but we'll go ahead and make it for all three. What is your favorite Gundam anime and character? Are you guys even familiar enough with Gundam to actually answer, or answers just Gundam Wing?
I'm going to say I'm basically familiar with Wing, and my favorite character is Catra only because his actor and I have read bad fanfic together.
Mine is Fuyun Psyche from G Gundam because it's a fucking horse and he gets a giant robot horse.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. Gundam Wing and G Gundam are both interesting. I'm trying to think of my honest answer because it's one of those weird things where when Gundam's interesting, it's often very different. So it's kind of more putting characters side by side rather than like front and center, if that makes sense. Let's see.
I mean, I'm here for like the giant robots and crack.
Yeah. I mean, my answer would probably be boring. It'd probably just be one of the main characters from Gundam Wing or something. Because, you see that stuff early, even when you get other favorites, you kind of always flash back.
It's one of those, like, you'll never forget your first Gundam series, I guess.
Yeah. And
I think the first one I ended up watching was Turn a Gundam, and it's just like, oh my fucking god, this is boring as shit.
Yeah, Turn a Gundam can't be the first. That doesn't work. They also asked what was first Gundam. The first full one for me was Gundam Wing. There was smaller stuff. Yeah. I also really like basically almost every character from 08th MS team, to be honest. But that falls into that weird loophole that I mentioned of when Gundam is most interesting when it does other stuff. Ramon wants to know, were we surprised that Gilmon was a pre-order bonus? I guess. I wasn't
expecting pre-order bonuses at all.
It's a weird thing to announce.
Yeah, so
to be one of the first announcements you make.
Yeah, so that's the weird thing is you have to remember, it's not like we've had game marketing for a year and then we're a couple months from release and they go, and a pre-order bonus will be Gilmon. It
was literally up for pre-order here for a little while and none of that stuff was mentioned.
Yeah, it's literally I woke up and the news was there, and it also mentioned Gilmon. It's like, oh, okay. I didn't have time to like even think about that. It just was there, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because we technically don't even know like how Digimon are acquired in
It's
the
been
game
it's been
mechanics.
suggested, but we'll get back to that when we know. Then someone wants to know, what TV show do we think would be most interesting if it was brought back?
I could not think of a good
See,
one here because I've mentioned the mole before, and I don't want to repeat that one.
So here's what's weird. There's a difference between what do we think would be entertaining to us and what would be interesting. Like I would love more Scrubs, but if Scrubs came back, I would want it to be exactly the same, and that's not necessarily interesting.
Yeah.
That's just what I want.
Yeah.
I would have liked them to continue Teen Titans instead of, oh shit, little girls like this series. We're just going to cancel it because it makes advertising harder.
And then they did 10 more seasons and everyone hated it, minus the audience.
We don't talk about
that's still fucking running. They're doing another movie.
It's horrible.
The first theatrical, the theatrical movie, I actually really liked. Also,
I think Teen Titans Go is the Chrono Cross of the Cartoon Network. It's a crappy sequel. It's a very unfaithful sequel, but in its own right, like if it was its own thing, it'd be fine.
Look, I will say this: Teen Titans Go to the Movie was actually really good.
I heard that. That was really good. The trailer looked amazing.
The end of the movie was the best movie ending ever. Period. If you don't want to know a spoiler for a 2 or 3-year-old cartoon movie, this is when you leave. Robin keeps trying to give the end of movie speech, and people are like, no, movie's over, Robin, wrap it up, we're not doing it. And Robin's like, no, they're like, no, wrap it up. The camera starts to fade down, and you see the grapple gun hit. Robin flies up to the screen and goes, parents, ask your kids where babies come from. Movie over. Okay, that was amazing. They literally do not hang on it or anything. It's like 2 or 3 seconds, and that's it. So most interesting.
Grew up on Teen Titans aren't be endeared to that anymore.
Okay, I have an answer for most interesting if it brought back. They've said very little, but the idea of what would happen if they did more Stargate.
Ooh.
The only thing they've said, minus they would bring back actors who were amicable to it, is part of it would be the Stargate would be made public. And that is so wildly different than everything those shows did that's interesting because I'm very curious where you would go with that, because the entire concept of everything is based around it being secret. Like, they did multiple episodes about keeping it secret or having to keep aliens secret and everything. That would be interesting to me. It's almost the type of thing where it falls into that zone of it's almost interesting enough. I don't know if I'd like it. Because it's so wildly different.
It's such a different
I'm so burned out
feel
on
to it, yeah.
Yeah. So I think it'd be interesting though. But I don't know what I would do with that. Ian, I believe that specific Digimon question I answered when season 1 was announced, which is season 1. And that's the end to that one, because that's the answer. Have we watched Spy Cross Family? I have not had the time.
Yet.
I've heard it's very good.
I heard it's good, yeah.
Yeah, I've heard it's very good.
Nothing but very good things about both the manga and
I've heard literally nothing negative. Although something did get pointed out to me about I don't remember who it was. I don't know if it was one of the listeners or someone else, about reviews of that show. Someone was looking through, because obviously that was one of the things picked for Anime News Network to do weekly reviews of. Someone pointed out that for all the comments about how they dropped Adventure, they actually dropped Ghost Game far sooner. They just didn't comment on doing it.
Yeah, I don't know if they ever committed to
They
doing
did.
full reviews of
No,
shows.
no.
Did they do?
One
I
second.
only
I'm
saw
pulling
them
up.
off and on.
They no, they did. They did Ghost Game up to episode 14.
Oh, okay.
So they were doing
So they
that.
got a season out of it,
Yeah,
basically.
they were doing it week by week, and then they just stopped. I don't think they even announced they were stopping. They just didn't do it anymore. But yeah, Spy Cross Family. I've heard nothing but positive. I just don't have the time. That's the type of thing that will go into the pile of buy the Blu-ray. It will go into a pile when I have time. God knows when.
I'll probably
Yeah.
binge it like 5 episodes at a time.
Yeah. Um. Then someone wants to know, do we think there'll be more Ghost Game plush toys? Yes.
Absolutely.
At the very least, I would expect a cushion or two and some Crane Game
Yeah.
plushies.
We're getting, and we got to get a bigger
Because
Gamamon at least.
here's what I expect for at least one. I expect Jellymon cushion of the non-humanoid form.
Yes.
That's like the most. Because here's the thing: there's not a lot of work to do that one. That's a
Yeah.
more obvious design.
I would want it immediately.
Yeah.
Shut up and take my money.
Do we have any thoughts on variations of Digimon, sort of like the one seen in the Crosswords manga? Do we want to see more of that? I think we get a lot of those. Sometimes they're just not considered Digimon. They're just a Digimon doing something.
Yeah, and generally, whenever you have a group of a singular of one type of Digimon, there tends to be a leader of that group that has some sort of distinguishing feature. That's a pretty common thing to have.
So
he has sunglasses.
I guess they probably more mean specifically something that makes it unique enough to maybe be its own Digimon, or at least be memorable-ish.
Like King Waymon, maybe?
Here's what I say to that. I demand a reference book entry for Boxing Glove Agumon.
I can provide that.
Yeah,
I mean, here's the page for a giant Tesla Jellymon.
Yeah, see, I'm not against it at all. I'm not against it. It just, I think, unless there's a more oblique point to it, they've kind of gotten away from doing that. Unless there's a reason, like Blacktailmon Uber, there was a reason. If that had never gone a reference book entry, I don't think any of us would have been that shocked, though, to be honest.
Right.
I figured it was just Tailmon with a hat and
depression.
Yeah,
and even in show,
it's just Blacktailmon with a backpack.
And even in show, they're just treating it as a Blacktailmon. They're not treating it like some special, unique Digimon. It's just a Blacktailmon who happens to deliver packages.
I don't think its name's ever been.
Ever
called it.
They just kept saying Blacktailmon.
Yeah, the two that were trying to get home.
The two. Oh yeah.
They kept saying, "Bring us Blacktail." Yeah.
Yeah.
Uber never came into it.
Yeah, they never mentioned Uber.
I like when they have Digimon that just like they just have a job now.
Let's see. Being asked about a dinosaur time traveling show that aired on Sci-Fi. I think I know the show you're talking about. I think that was on Fox. Wasn't that like produced by Spielberg or something? Where they like got bounced back in time or to another universe, and it was like a world of dinosaurs. No, I remember that one.
Or was it live action?
Live action.
Like Terra Nova. I just pulled it up. I believe it's Terra Nova. I think that's the show they're thinking of. I think.
Probably.
Because
there's a lot of going back in time to dino time. Time travel dino shows out there.
Because in my mind, I don't even think of when I read that description, my brain went, "Oh, they're thinking of an episode of Sliders." Because I was very fond of Sliders when I was younger, so I jumped there. But I'm pretty sure they're thinking of Terra Nova.
We went to the museum over the weekend, and there was an AR thing where Lucas can run around with dinosaurs.
Oh, that's neat.
Does that count? Yeah, it was fun.
Oh, that sounds fun.
He got a kick out of that.
Yeah. But yeah, all I can really comment on there is I think you mean Terra Nova. I think. last chance for those of you in chat, because the last question that we have that was sent in ahead of time was, what are our opinions on fighting game movies? They want to know our thoughts on them.
They already did Mortal
Give me
Kombat.
more.
You don't need to do.
So
you don't need to do any more.
so here's the thing. The first Mortal Kombat movie is actually really good. Like, as much as it like
Yeah,
is PG-13, it's an enjoyable, fun movie.
Yeah, no, it's like the plot is they scraped together whatever they could for a story and then just rolled with it.
Oh no, yeah,
And it
I'll
has all the hallmarks from the game. It has a killer soundtrack and it has Christopher Lambert. You're
yes,
done.
it worked.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I liked the Street Fighter movie. It's
Yeah, the Street
weirdly,
Fighter movies
it's
are good
campy and it's
alternative.
fun.
Yeah.
And here's the thing.
Like if you like that and Raul Julia's great in it. And
yes,
yeah.
Raul Julia
As
is.
long as they don't take themselves seriously, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah,
I would love a Guilty Gear movie.
Yeah.
So then
like, that was the problem with the second Mortal Kombat movie.
But there's those ones that people don't remember. Like there were 2 live-action Tekken movies. I didn't see the second one. The first one was better than it had any right to be. And then we're gonna swing back to this. I saw the Dead or Alive movie. It was okay. It was better than I expected it to be. And because AR Dev's gonna ask yes. The plot stops for a volleyball scene.
Volleyball scene.
So at the very least, they understood the job.
To be fair, so does Top Gun, and that's a classic.
Yes. But yeah, and the worst as far as live action fighting game movies go is King of Fighters.
I had no idea any of these movies existed.
So here's the thing. The King of Fighters movie has like people in it you'd recognize, like some actual name actors. It is so bad, I turned it off after like 20 minutes. It has it has Maggie Q, it has Ray Park. The movie was so bad I had to turn off because it literally didn't even make any fucking sense. For anyone who's familiar with King of Fighters or Fatal Fury and is not familiar with the movie, when I say what I'm going to say next, you're going to think that I'm insane. I swear it's there. Terry Bogard's a CIA agent investigating stuff. That's about as far from the character as you can get. Like, that doesn't even, like... That's like someone drunk describing the wrong thing entirely.
There's an interesting point about, even if it's a good fighting game that has a good lore behind it, a good lore in a fighting game doesn't necessarily translate into a good movie. I think that's something people need to keep in mind when comparing stories across different media.
But I'm saying the idea of actually like trying to build a story that doesn't even make narrative sense, like going, okay, he's involved because he's a CIA agent.
Yeah, but I think that's just my point when people talk about.
No, but I mean he's not a fighter, is what I mean.
Oh no, I mean they completely got that wrong.
Now to be fair, he might be a fighter later in the movie, but I was not I was done.
Assume he gets into it eventually.
There was pulling people into the Matrix and mind controlling them, and I don't even remember how much of this is accurate and how much of this is like I jumped out so quickly my mind filled it in.
It's actually kind of, thinking back on stuff like that, it's actually kind of shocking that all 7 of the main Mortal Kombat characters their backstories are actually accurate in the movie.
Or
that's
accurate
really
enough.
Hard to do. Accurate enough. It's like, that's really hard to pull off. Yeah. And there were only 7 of them.
And of course,
and I'm shocked that they did it.
And that's not even getting into stuff like animation. Like, the Street Fighter 2 animated movie is great. Like, that's an actual great movie. But yeah, fighting game stuff seems to fare better because it is almost built in that if you want to, the plot can be thin and still make sense.
Mm-hmm.
And stuff like the Mortal Kombat one, that's like ignoring that there's been a new Mortal Kombat movie that starts over. Stuff from the original film shows up in the game still.
Yes, that's right.
In the most recent game, Shang Tsung is designed after the movie. Like
the movie one?
Yes.
Yeah, because the second thing, Mortal Kombat 2 would have had to have come out before the movie did, because that's the one that de-aged him.
I'm actually talking about can't remember his name off the top of my head. Kari Tagawa.
Mm-hmm.
He's Shang Tsung in the most recent game, and it's designed after him. Like,
Yeah.
like they went back to the movie and made Shang Tsung look like he did back then.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean.
Or there's DLC that has, I think, Bridget Wilson's Sonya Blade and Lyndon Ashby's Johnny Cage, and like they bring
Wow.
them in, like because people still really love that.
And Ashton wasn't even in the sequel.
To be fair,
Was he?
they had like a stand-in and they killed him immediately to try to make
well,
it so you wouldn't notice.
That's why I used his name. Like
Yeah.
the actor they killed off
And
right away.
everyone fucking loved him in the first movie.
Oh no, he was great in the first one.
When they
kept
kept talking about for years doing a third one, they were going to bring him back to life just so they could cast him again. And then they decided to reboot. I haven't seen the reboot.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's good. I've heard it's okay.
I don't care. They made the first movie. I'm good with Mortal Kombat.
The first one really is a good watch. I actually enjoy it.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of animated adaptations that we just don't have the time to get into. A lot of those are actually good. I remember watching the first Street Fighter Alpha one and going, this isn't good. Then when they announced the second one, I'm like, oh, this is going to be terrible. I'm going to watch it. And I fell asleep like 15 minutes into it. It was so boring.
I think I fell asleep in parts of the second one. And those are the only two I remember ever watching.
Yeah. Although I will say, I don't remember if I actually fell asleep or if it was just so boring, I don't remember any of it. I honestly don't.
Out.
Fair.
Yeah, that was the one where like I think they give him like a kid brother or something.
Oh, jeez.
And I'm pretty sure like they accidentally dubbed Akuma with his Japanese name of Goki, and they didn't notice. Yeah.
Quality.
Did we miss any in the chat before we finish up? Have we seen Eureka 7? Yes, I quite enjoy Eureka 7.
Long ago that I remember nothing about it.
I always wanted to watch Eureka 7 and just never got around to it, and I don't really feel like going back.
So I really like the show. The first movie's very strange. I don't dislike it. I actually kind of like it, but it's very much a not a reboot. It's specifically designed to tell a new story and to fuck with you if you're going in expecting more Eureka 7. And it's that kind of
when they do that.
It's that kind of weird dickishness where the movie's not bad, at least to me, but it's there to fuck with you, so it kind of feels insulting. And I haven't seen any of the modern reboot films. Reviews for those have been so up and down, I couldn't even comment, to be honest.
Yeah, Eureka 7's one I accidentally let pass me by, and
I
kind of regret it, but not enough
the
to
TV,
go back.
The TV show very much is in the Digimon vein.
Yeah, I know.
Very much so.
Don't remind me. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't need another one to put on my. I don't need another thing.
Yeah. Okay, I think that's about it. AR, what have you been up to? Do you have anything coming up to talk about?
I have finished Rearise. I'm almost done with my. I put up the last chapter recap. I'm gonna put one more up for the epilogue because I want to talk about the epilogue. They did it right.
They murdered Harrisman.
No, that was season 1. It's shocking. You didn't vote. You didn't. Yeah, no, seriously, that's how season 1 ends.
Oh, I know that's how season 1 ends.
Okay.
They advertised it as ending that way.
Yeah, no. They do not do that in season 2.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I was just commenting at random. I have no idea how season 2 ends. I just at some point at some point I had to hit the mental space of going, I do not care because I'm not going to play through it. I understand it's good. I don't have the time to deal with it, and I'm not going to sit there and watch clips.
I'm just saying 0-2 ending done right, and that should raise some eyebrows. But yeah, I'm on Twitter at First Agent ARP, where you can find the recap there. I'm on Tumblr, where I'm now posting my Ghost Game reviews again. Yay! At firstagent.tumblr.com.
Okay, Dev, what Wikimon article do you like people to read?
Morphomon, for reasons.
Ooh. There was a butterfly exhibit at the museum too.
See, that's the good type of cheat, Dev. That's a perfect choice. I can be found at With the Will as always. And before we go, since I'm sure someone will ask if I do not comment on it, no, I am not buying the collector's edition of the Ninja Turtle game collection. That there's not the extra $110 in value in that. So we will catch you guys next time. Thanks for showing up. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.